Hi, I'm Mark from L&M Small Engine. Today we're working on a Yard Machines by MTD snowblower. It's a 24-inch cut. It has a power mower engine on it. It's a 179cc. As you can see, it's been sitting for a couple of years. Looks like it's been sitting outside. When they drop it off, I smelled the gas. The gas is terrible. So we'll probably clean out the gas tank, clean out the carburetor, and make it running for him in case he needs it this year. So hope you enjoy the video. Okay, before we get started on the motor, I noticed skid plates are like about a ½ inch above the ground. If you don't get them adjusted properly, you're gonna wear out your cutter down here. So we're gonna adjust them real quick. Just want to make sure the augers are all intact, the shear pins are all still there. So what I like to do on these adjust these skid plates, I like using like door or window shims. I like setting the cutter about 1/8 of an inch above the ground, because you don't want to wear out that cutter. So we'll just stick these in under the cutter about halfway. That's about 1/8 of an inch. Then we'll go ahead and loosen them bolts on the side and let them skid plates fall to the ground and tighten them back up again. Just let it fall down and make sure it's level. There, and we can take out our shims. And there, that's all adjusted. Now we can go to the motor now. Okay, the bowl of the carburetor is right here. You know, if you're lucky, you can just take that 10mm bolt off the bottom and clean out that way. But the way I do things around here, I want to tear it all apart and fix it right, so you don't have to worry about stuff coming back. So we're just going to take all this shields and everything off so we can get to the carburetor, and just take the carburetor all apart and clean it up that way. You know, if you're lucky, you can just get by just taking this bowl off and hopefully just clean out your jet and everything right there. But we're just going to take it all apart. I'll go ahead and pry this choke lever off there. Slide the throttle lever off so we can slide all this plastic off. Take all these 10mm bolts off. There's a couple back here. I have to use a wrench on them because I won't be able to get my socket in there. I checked the oil on it. The oil looks brand new in it, so it's hardly ever been run. I suppose they bought it, put some gas in it, maybe used it once and forgot about it. And that gas gets old, especially ethanol. Does a lot of damage when it sits there and gets old. There's a couple of bolts on this side over here I have to take off by the muffler guard here, it looks like. Maybe I can just loosen them up, and maybe that will lift up. And this piece of plastic goes all the way across this side over here. Looks like we gotta take that box off for the electric start off to get to that piece over there. So I'll bring the camera over the other side. Gotta take this box off right here because this way you get this plastic off right here. Don't make it easy on you. Okay, let's try her again here. Looks like I'm gonna have to take this handle off to run the auger. There's that key key kill wire on this piece of plastic, then the hose for the primer. There we go. Now I can unhook the hose for the primer here. There we go. And unhook this choke lever off the bracket. We gotta unhook the fuel line here. Break that rubber hose loose a little bit on here, so don't tear the fuel line. It's stuck on there pretty doggone good. There we go, and I can slide it out a little bit, unhook the governor rod, and unhook the spring. And slide the carburetor out. I'm going to clean the outside off a little bit before we tear it apart. Okay, we'll go and take the bowl off. That's a 10 millimeter. I drained all the gas out of this the day I got it in, like about 5 days ago. Like I said, the gas just stunk. See all that rust and crap in there? So we're definitely going to boil this thing out. And right under here, there's a pilot jet under this adjustment for the throttle. We're going to go ahead and take that out before I clean it out. That's what runs that's like an idler jet. And when you take this off, kind of look on this side here and kind of see how far it's stuck out, so you kind of have an idea on when to screw it back in, how far. And these are just pressed in there. Like a little itsy bitsy jet on there. Pops it right out. And there's a little jet right here. There's a hole here and a hole here on this side. Just cover one hole up with your finger, and you can tell it's plugged up because there should be a nice fine stream coming out of that top. So if we wouldn't have cleaned out, it would have been like surging and stuff. It just wouldn't have been running right. That's why I like taking everything apart and doing it right the first time. Then you don't have to worry about things coming back. I like using a little wire like this. This is a flywheel brake cable end. Just stick it through that jet. Twist it around and get all that gunk out of there. That's that old gas. See that stream coming out of there now? It's nice and clean. So then I'm gonna put this in the ultrasonic cleaner, and I'll see if I can't get that out. If not, I'll have to replace the bowl. We'll try getting all that out of there, and we'll put her back together again. Okay, just took it out of the cleaner, and it sure cleaned up nice. So we can go and put this back together again. And just make sure your main jet's cleaned out. Like stick your carburetor cleaner hose in there and blow it out. Make sure it shoots a nice stream through there. Go and put our float back in there. Go ahead and get this nice and tight. Okay, we're going to put our pilot jet back in. Just press it in there. Then your idler screw, that's what holds it down. And it's sticking out about that far on the other side. So there we go. Now we can go ahead and install it back on the motor. Make sure you got your gasket on there. Put it on there. Don't put it on all the way yet. You gotta put that governor rod in. Then we gotta put that spring on there. Goes in that little hole right there. Move our fuel line. And before I install the fuel line, I'm gonna go ahead and take the top off the gas tank. I'm gonna blow some air in there. Make sure all the dust and if there's any fuel or water left in there, make sure it's all gone before we put fresh gas in there. And I'll use a rag to kind of cover up the Now we can go ahead and put the fuel line on. And go and put our clamp on. And this choke plate. And just double check, make sure everything's hooked up. And put our primer hose back on. And there's a little vent back there we have to hook up. Push that vent on there all the way. I'm just going to start these two nuts and hold the carburetor on this. Get them two started. We got to line up this. Line everything up before we put all them bolts in there. Once you get a couple started, then the rest are easy. Just getting everything all lined up here. Then there's these two over on this side over here. Now hook up. Tighten these two on the back here. Then we have to hook up that starter. That plug-in starter assembly next. I want to get this thing here hooked up before we tighten the main bolts by the carburetor. It's a lot easier for it to line up. Okay, now we can finish tightening everything on the other side. Okay, now we can put our throttle lever on and our choke lever. Make sure everything's working properly. And go ahead and install our auger handle back on. And like I said earlier, I checked the oil. The oil looks brand new in this. If your oil's dirty, I'd go ahead and change it. And they do take 1030. So I'll get it off the table and we'll put some fresh gas in it and see how it runs. Okay, this got done putting fuel in there. Okay, we'll put it on fast. Put the choke on. Prime it up. And we'll push the button here. Runs like brand new again. Anyways, I appreciate you watching the video and you have a good afternoon. Bye.